What is up, YouTubers? I thought a little today I would kind of focus. I told you I was going to show you some different deals that you can do with the barrels um, from Home Depot or buckets. They're 5-gallon buckets. And then I'll just kind of go into just a little bit of what I'm doing here. First off is I purchased two different types of barrels, buckets, whatever you want to call them. I like getting these. They do have food grade buckets. I try to get the ones that have the child proof, to let people know, just for safety reasons and that. I get the lids that have the rubber gasket or whatever you want to call it. I believe the lids was like $1.69, and I think the buckets, I'll have to go back and look, but I think they were around, I want to say $2 to $3 for this type bucket. They also make a bucket. Now these are a little bit more pricey. This bucket here is what you consider, I believe, a food grade bucket. What I like about it is it's black. It's not going to let no light in. That's the main thing right there, is that you don't want, to get the light into your whatever you're putting into it. Now on the other hand, these lids are very, very pricey. They're once you seal it on there, it's sealed, but you've got the removable, and this one was see if I can't get it broke loose here. What I like is you got the ring that goes on top of your bucket, and once that seals, it's there. But this one you can take, like if you want to check on your stuff, put stuff in there that you want to check on every now and then, you've got this one and it'll reseal, and that's what I kind of like about it is these are about $7, almost $8 for this particular, just the lid itself, but that'll give you some idea. Most of the time I use this for stuff that throughout the year I buy, like the other day I done a video on a lot of that A1 sauce and stuff I get from the dollar store. A lot of times I'll put that stuff, put a Mylar bag in here or whatever, and just add as I go, and that way I can pull the lid off, but it's still sealed. I know no lights getting to it, and I've got the stuff, and then with our pantry we try to rotate everything, and then when we start getting low, then I come over here and start rotating it out of here, putting it in the pantry part, buying new to put back in here. That's just a thought for you guys. Now I don't know if you guys know, and I've talked about them before, these Mylar bags. I buy the bigger ones, and we'll just kind of go through this a little bit. These will fit in a 5-gallon bucket, one of these 5-gallon buckets. And what I'm in the process of doing right now, I have some flour. It's self-raising flour. I don't know if you can see it here. I've had this for 4 or 5 years. Haven't done anything. The other day I went through my stuff and I noticed there was some mouse droppings and things, so I've been rotating a lot of stuff out of the shelf area so I can wipe it all down with sanitary wipes and things. But I want to check to make sure that this is still good, so you guys will know, and I'll know, but as long as it's in this bag, I think it's going to be okay. But I want to go ahead and take it out of there, put it in one of these, seal it up. It'll be in the bucket, and I can show you some of this other stuff the way I do it. And like I said, I got to replenish this stuff anyway. but I kind of want to check on it, you know, because you don't want to find out, you know, a year from now and you want to go use it and you've got a bug problem or whatever. And if I did, probably more than likely I would not throw this out. I would sift it, because I don't know if you guys know this, but all your flour, and this is gross, and I hate telling you, but your flour and things like that, it still comes with the eggs, and that larva and stuff is in the flour no matter whether you sift it or not. It's just once it, excuse me, gets moisture or something like, or more, I believe it's light. And you need to research this part of it because, you know, it's been a long time. But like I said, you know, they will hatch out after a period of time, and you want to check on your flowers and things and make sure. And like I said, go out there and research it. You know, hopefully I'm telling you right. You know, this is just information I'm trying to share with you. And what I kind of like to do is just get it set in there. And a lot of times I'll try to, and it's a pain sometimes, try to get this bag over the bucket as best you can. And I've got it there. Now I forgot one thing, so hold on one second. Sorry about that, but I like to take, usually you use bay leaves or and I like to take my moisture deals, and usually I'll throw, because these are not that expensive and you could get them just, you know, just about anywhere. And I throw a couple, one in the bottom, one in the top, and you know, that'll kind of help keep the moisture out. So just throw one of them in there. Now I know some people that will take these bags, stick them down in the Mylar, not even open them. I just wanted to check to make sure that everything was good. And usually you can tell, I don't know if you guys can see this or not, but you most of the time you can, you know, run your hands through it and stuff. And thank goodness this don't have no weevils or anything like that. It's just, you know, I probably could have left this alone, stuck it in a bag and that, but I want to be double cautious, and you know, I just want to make sure that in the time of need that I don't have to worry about, you know, worrying that flour, you know, for breads and things is going to be worth using. So is what I normally do. And hopefully I won't make a mess. And if you notice, I'm doing it outside because of the dust and stuff, so. and my wife would have a cow if I got it all over the house. It filled up the bucket fairly well, and I still, like on the bottom, I'll go back and check and make sure, and usually I have a towel or something that I use, but I'll use a towel I have it sitting on. And then I take one of these and throw in on top, and I inspect the top, that was actually on the bottom. This is really, really good. And then what I'll either do is cut the label off the bag and tape it to the top, and I'll put today's date on it. I know that I bought this back in 2014. It's just one of them things. Like I said, I wanted to kind of show you guys the process and stuff you can do with your stuff and be able to store it. I would prefer that these were the darker ones. They used to years ago. You could not see through them. I haven't been able to find, I know Lowe's has some that you can't see through, but you want to keep the light out as much as possible when you're storing them. So take your Mylar or your food moisture deals, throw in on top, and what I do is, if I can, before I try to get it all, try to get it up there, and then I'll try to shake it down. Then I'll try to take the bag itself, and you've got 2 points here, and I don't know if you can see, this is where they seamed it. And what you do is I try to get as much air out of there and try to keep your seal where you're sealing it, keep it as much as you can. And I don't know if you can see that very well. But this is where I'm going to put the seam. And I just make it, and I try to wipe this down as much as I can. And my hands was clean when I come out here. That's one thing I want to stress. Make sure your hands are clean. And I know I've got flour and stuff on them, but still, yet if you do it right, you can seal this up. And I try to get one end, and then I'll take my heat gun and if you'll notice in these corners, I don't know if you could see it, but there's a cut on this side. And I'll usually, let's see if I can't do this to show you guys. You'll see this cut right here. You can, cut that if you want. Like if you wanted to check on it and come back and then reseal it. But I usually, what I do is, try to check this. And this one I kind of got off because I'm distracted, but it's not going to matter. Just try to get it, if you can, try to get it as best you can to seal it. That's the main thing. And then keep it in out of the light. Like I said, I probably, if I'd have trusted that bag or had it new, I'd have just stuck it in the Mylar bag and closed it up and left it in that sack, because I know that that's set for 2-3 years now, and it's not. And like I said, you can use, somebody told me you can use bay leaves and different things. You can go out there and research different preppers websites and things, and they can help you, or you can email them and they can help you out. And this item here is like $50-$60. It's not that expensive. I just try to put it in one of these, because if you do open it, you have a container here that, hopefully you'll be using out of it, and you'll be making your breads and your flours and things. So alright, everything is sealed I'll see if I can't get this to where you guys can see it, but if you'll look, this is sealed good, and usually I try to look along my seam and make sure. And I have seen another prepper, when he gets too much, he usually makes this on purpose, and then he'll take this and fold this over and come back and refill it. He don't cut it off. Sometimes I do. I have never tried it, so we'll give it a shot here. You know, he said it don't matter to him how it, as long as it's sealed tight. But he done it by accident, he said. I guess that works pretty good. He said he got carried away and they were doing so many of them, and he said it was one of them things he learned by accident, and he said he didn't really want to cut the excess off, so he just started folding it over and doing it that way, which I guess it kind of works. But and boy, it's a beautiful morning out. That's why I wanted to do it this morning. I got to take my wife's rig in, get new tires on it. So if you guys wonder why I'm kind of doing this in a hurry, you'll understand. But okay, and a lot of times too, I'll take this and I'll just take my hand and, you know, fold that down, fold them in, and there's enough air and stuff in there that's, you know, I know it's sealed tight, guys. I'm going to take another one just because and just throw it in on top. So, you know, I've used 3 of them, you know, so big deal. Like I said, they're inexpensive, you know, and I can reuse this if I have to. A lot of times I'll fluff them up. I have had these a couple times, you know, get to where they wasn't, they draw moisture in the bag, and before I opened them, they all was kind of, I thought, you know, they got moisture and they were ruined. But a guy told me just kind of fluff them up and get the stuff moving around, and he said more than likely that, you know, it was just enough to get them damp to where they hardened. So, and I just throw that in there. And I make sure that it's sealed all the way around. And I don't have my hammer, and I'm on my deck, so I'm afraid that. And then I'll put today's date on it. And that's one way you can do it with these. I've got some rice. I'm going to check. I'm going to do it the same way. I don't know. I guess we could do the other bucket and just go from there. And we'll just see what happens. Kind of made a mess out of here this morning, and as you can hear, my neighbor has a rooster over there that's crowing. Okay, let's just open the rice and check it out. Now this rice, it's 25-pound bag of white rice, I believe it is. Make sure I'm telling you right. This one I've had, I think I bought it back in 2012. You know, I've got a lot of the stuff. I do know my dad had, before he had passed away, we went through a lot, or, you know, when he passed away, we went through a lot of his stuff that he had put back, but he kept it in his garage, and he never put any boards or anything. He just set cardboard down, and a lot of the rice was on the bottom, and I noticed on some of it, it had hardened. Other stuff that he'd put in garbage bags and wrapped them 2 and 3 times. The bags got brittle, just falling apart and that. So you really, if you're going to spend the money, you know, some of these bags I think are $8 to $16. So, you know, I'd love to kept some of it, but, you know, we just couldn't. There was a lot of canned goods that he didn't store, I don't feel, in the right proper area, and the tops of the lids and things were rusted. So I got a big dumpster, and, you know, I probably threw $500-600 worth of stuff away, and I wish that it kind of just rotated it and, you know, used it normally, you know, because that's what I try to do is, you know, when you prep, that's one thing you need to take into consideration. Don't buy anything that you haven't ate or tried. Don't buy the stuff and let it set. You know, you need to rotate it, you know. Make a list of, and it's going to take you a while, guys. You need to make a list of what you eat every day, or what you have. Like me and my wife will sit down sometimes and I'll ask her, you know, like for Thanksgiving, you know, what all the stuff do you have for Thanksgiving? Take that into consideration. Take into consideration all the stuff you have around Christmas time. You know, that's stuff that is out, and you could buy it a year in advance and watch your sales and things. That's the main thing, is you don't have to break the bank doing this, guys. You know, you guys know that I'm not making the money like I did, but every week when we go, I buy an extra canned good. You know, she was kind of laughing the other day that, you know, my peanut butter had, from 2012, me and my mom been eating it for the last, it's almost 6-7 months, and she was worried that peanut butter was going to go bad. And we got to the point where we'd been eating it for breakfast and different things, and the peanut butter is gone out of the pantry now, and we're on the last little bit. So I'd started buying more peanut butter, and so had my mom, and we're starting to get it stocked back up, you know. And she's like, well, you can, you know, slow down on the peanut butter. And I said, well, you know, right now it's cheap enough that, you know, I'm going to go ahead and keep buying it. You know, when it gets back up to $4 or $5 a deal, I don't know if you guys this is that much, but I can't believe, because some of my peanut butter, I wrote the date and how much I paid for it, and there was some of it I paid $1.50 for. You know, for the same jar now is almost $3.85 or $3.95, something like that. And, you know, that's what I told her. I said, you know, look at the difference there. So, you know, even if nothing else, not preparing, it'll save you on your grocery bill sometimes. And also, you need to go out there and watch these different people, and I'm learning more about it, how to dry can. You know, I know there's a lot of wet canning, which I want to learn, but you can dry can meat to where, you know, you don't have to have it refrigerated or whatever. You can put it in your pantry. You sanitize your jars and things. Stick the jars in the oven, and once you pull them out of the oven, you go ahead and put your meats and things in it, and just go out there and get on YouTube and watch some of them. I think that it would be well worth your while to do it. I've talked enough. Let's do the rice, check it out, and just go from there. It's just dust off the rice, and I'll show you here. I just want to, rice is a little bit, you know, different. And you can see it's still, you know, there's nothing creepy crawling in it or anything like that. Now I think I'm going to do this one a little bit different. I think what I'm going to do is leave it in the bag it's in. You know, I checked it, and like I said, this has been sitting for several years. And I think what I'm going to do is just throw one of my deals in this, put my Mylar bag, stick this down in the Mylar bag, and then seal it up. I don't think I want to, you know, take it out of this bag. You know, these bags are pretty stout and that, and we'll just go from there. So, and I do believe, I think I'm going to use the orange lid. Now I do know some guys, and I maybe ought to do that instead. Some guys take and put them in the smaller ones, seal them up, and then stack them in the deal. That way they don't have to open the whole bag to where you have to use it all at once. You know, 25-pound bag of stuff, you know, go a long ways. And that's what I was telling you about the dry. You can take the quart jars or quart-and-a-half jars, do the process I told you. You know, boil your stuff on your stove in your, I can't even think what the name of it is, but you boil your quart jars and things. You can pull them out, stick them in the oven, let them dry for a little bit. Do it just like you would canning something, but they call it a dry. And you can take the jar, set it down, make sure it's dry. Have your lids ready like you normally would. You take your rice, put in there, put your lid on it, you know, get it hand tight, take it back over to the pot. You stick them down into it, and I think you can get 6 of them in one of the big steamers and you just do it just like you would your other stuff, but they consider it a dry, and they claim that'll last up to 30 years, and you could do it in quarts, and I think it's a quart and a half, I'm not sure, jars, and they say that's the best way to do it, because, you know, if you're a family of 4, you can utilize that throughout the week or the month or whatever. Like I said, go out and research it. You know, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. Kind of in a hurry this morning. I shouldn't be, but I just kind of want to go over this stuff with you a little bit. I would use the one with the screw-on lid, but I think we'll use that for something else another day. I also am going to show you, I think I'm in the process of getting my own chickens and chicken coop. I think I'm going to do a couple videos on how to build you an inexpensive chicken coop, and I want to show you how to make some feeders and things. And same way with a small greenhouse that maybe you can keep over the winter, to just, you know, keep stuff, you know, and use a inexpensive heat lamp for your greenhouse. To, you know, it's not going to be a whole lot of stuff that you'll have, but at least there'll be something there, you know, in the time of need, you'll have it. But anyway. This one I'm going to do a little bit different, guys, and I'll let you see how I do it. I'm going to leave this up because we're just sealing the top. And I think what I'm going to do here with this is I'm going to fold this in, and let me go get some tape, and I'm going to tape this, and then we'll set it down in there and we'll go from there. And that's one thing you don't want to do, is let it fall over, folks. Sorry about that, I'm very unprepared today. And I'm going to seal it up really, really good with this tape. I don't know if y'all can hear it.